Hey guys, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome to another crafty video. So this video is in conjunction with the card hop that's going over on Courtney Kreber's channel. If you guys are interested, there is more information linked below to the whole entire hop and a little bit more description of what it's all about. Today we're going to be using the Turnabout Stencils from Concord and 9th. This one is called the Joyful Tiles. This is brand new. This is their second set of Turnabout Stencils. I love the first one, so I was so excited to get this one. Haven't had a chance to use it, so I thought this would be a great card to use it on. So the first row is stenciled 1, 2, 3, 4 times of the first stencil, and then there's the second one, and you can actually combine them, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to be using distressed oxides with some black card base with the makeup brushes that are from Durami and Yosang. And then there's also the stamp set called Lots to Say stamp set by Concord and 9th, and we're going to be using the I Think You're Wonderful sentiment. We're going to add a little bit of weight to the card with the sentiment. So let's get started. There are a couple different ways that you can do this. You can tape this down. You can do, this card is going to be one layer card, or basically a one layer card with the exception of the sentiment. And so you can do it in the MISTI. You can use, get a piece of paper that's bigger than the card front and then cut it down. You can use washi tape and tape this down, tape the card down. Restickable adhesive, if you want to do the pixie spray, you can do that as well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up. And what you just do is you make sure that the stencil is lined up in the same corner every time. So we're going to use this top left corner, and I'm going to put my MISTI Creative Corners here. So I just want to make sure that it lines up on both sides of my card, the left side and the top side. And then I'm going to pick a color of Distress Oxide, and we're going to begin. So the interesting thing about Distress Oxides is that they show up nicely on the black cardstock. So this is why I can use this on black cardstock. If you use regular Distress ink, you're not going to be able to have it show up on here. Because these are partial pigment inks. These are a hybrid ink between pigment and dye inks. So these are going to sit on top of the paper versus them blending into the paper, and that's why you're going to be able to, oops, I kind of messed that one up. Yeah, just a little bit. But I don't think that should matter too much. This, again, is going to be really, really quick. So this is the first go around. This is the first turn of the stencil. So the next thing that I'm going to do, now I can wash this off. I can reuse this brush. We can do the same brush for every single one, or you can just use separate brushes. Just for the interest of time, I'm going to use separate brushes. So this will take a couple minutes to dry. We're going to clean this off, and we're going to get ready to do the second stencil. If you accidentally turn this around while you're cleaning, the easiest way to do it is to pick the last color and line it up in the corner, and you should be able to tell which way to turn it. So you can turn it 90 degrees either way, but just make sure you turn it in the same direction each time. So I'm going to turn it this way. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to line it up in the corner, line it up here. And if I was actually doing this off camera, I probably would not see, it's smudging a little bit. I would give it a couple minutes to dry. You can hit this with a heat gun if you're so inclined to do that. I'm actually just going to kind of leave it for one more minute. So while we're here, while we wait between the turns, I'm actually going to stamp the sentiment out. So this is the I Think You're Wonderful, which is a fantastic sentiment for an encouragement card. So I am going to use the Hero Arts Chalkboard Black ink. This is just ink that I had sitting on my desk, and I did not feel like going over and getting a different kind of ink pad so that I could stamp the sentiment. This piece is just a scrap piece of cardstock, and it was just it was in my scrap bin, and it's stamped pretty well. Here you go. I think you're wonderful. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. I don't know if I'm going to do a fishtail on it. I not sure what I'm gonna do. Let me clean off that ink. I'm gonna put this over to the side. So now I can't remember if I've already moved this stencil. So this one, so now we're just gonna try to go back and figure out which way I did the stencil. Okay, that's not it. What did I do? Okay, it's like this. So I had it flipped around. So that's a good lesson to learn. I actually flipped the stencil over to clean it off and then forgot to turn it back. So if you just look here, this is where the stencil lines up. So all I'm gonna wanna do is make a turn. And I'm just gonna be careful not really to press down too hard on this so that I try not to get the first color rubbing off onto the back of this stencil. Some of it may, because it's not really gonna dry very well. Okay, so we're going to use Peacock Feathers for the second time. Now you don't have to do all 4 turns. If you only wanna do 1 turn, 2 turns, you can do that. You don't have to do all 4 of them. You can do 2 turns of this and then 1 turn of the dots and see how that comes out. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll just do that. 2 turns of this and then the dots and see how that looks. Because then that would be bundled sage would be the next one. This is fairly quick to do. These make nice, easy backgrounds. And it's nice and easy to wipe the stencil off. Really, this is a technique that looks like it took really, really long. Like people are gonna be like, how did you get all of these colors on the background? And these are really popping. I am loving these Distress Oxides on black cardstock. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I am loving it. I think that, especially that Peacock Feathers, that one really, I feel like it really popped. So I just have a microfiber cloth from Norwex on the side of my desk, and then I have a spray bottle is just filled with water that sits on the desk too, so that I can easily clean stencils and anything, stamps, anything off that I need to. So maybe we'll do a 3rd turn on this one. This is this. So, and we turned it this way, so we're going to make sure that this is dry because Distress Oxides do react with water. So if I do have any water on the stencil, it will react. This is gonna turn out so pretty. I can't wait for you guys to see the finished result. I'm excited to see the finished result. Okay, let's pick another brush and we're gonna hit the bundled sage. You just wanna make sure you line it up. Again, in that corner, in that top left corner. Or if you pick a different corner, just make sure you line it up in the same corner every single time so that your pattern continues. It can be a little bit messy, inky process, but I think right now it's coming out pretty cool. So we might just do 3 turns. You can go back over any of the ones that you weren't sure about. Oh, that looks so cool. This is great for a masculine card. I'm really, really loving this because there are, it's kind of, actually, let's just keep continuing with all of the turns. Let's just see what this looks like. So this one actually got a lot of the Peacock Feathers on the back of it, but I'm okay with that. So we had that one. All right, so let's do this one. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is Twisted Citron. And it's probably better to use smaller brushes. I just pulled out whichever brushes came first out of the little cup that I have that's sitting next to my desk. This one might actually be lighter. That might come out a little too light. Now for the review of the brushes, I kind of talked about this in some of my previous videos. For the smaller brushes, I like the Duramy brushes, and for the larger brushes, I actually like the rose gold ones, the Yosing ones. Ah, that's pretty cool. Came out really, really neat. I think that's really a pretty pattern. It's interesting that it kind of cuts off here. So I think if I did this again, what I would do is I would actually go back and I would actually do it on a separate piece of cardstock and then cut it down so that it fits the front. That way I can have the pattern going all the way to the sides. But let's actually see where the dots are going to come into play. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. I'm going to clean it a little bit better when we're done. Let's just see if I line these up where these dots will go. Oh, that is so cool. It doesn't, it actually just kind of goes right in the middle of things. All right, so let's take this smaller detail brush. This is one, and we're going to use some cracked pistachio, and we're going to do these. And these aren't circles. I thought they were circles at first. These are actually look like hexagons. And that is Lucy in the background. I'm not sure what she wants. She's kind of been very talkative tonight. I'm not really sure what she's doing. Oh, there you go. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to keep turning it, and I'm gonna do these cracked pistachio dots in all the places. So there's one at the end that like kind of cut off here. So I actually really would do a different piece of cardstock, because this is probably going to look a little funny because there's going to be an edge here. So it's going to have like a little bit of a border. And I'll show you what I mean. 2 more turns to do. And we'll kind of look at how this all came together. It's coming out. I hope that you guys are finding this interesting and not too boring and watching me do the same kind of thing over and over again, but I hope it's helping to see how many turns you have to do, the way that you turn things, and where you place things. And honestly, I just went through and picked a couple of Distress Oxide colors. I didn't really pay much attention to what colors I was picking. I just picked a couple of greens out. So, oh wait, this one, these two are actually on this side, so I can actually put these on. These will actually be on the side. So this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm thinking this is coming out so amazing. This is really, really cool. I love the Distress Oxide colors on this. In person, it looks phenomenal. I'm not sure how it's gonna pick up on camera, but it really, really shines through because it sits on top of the paper. So you can do heat embossed layers to this. It doesn't have to be all stamped out. You can actually do heat embossed layers to it, which is really cool. If you do the 3 turns and then you do the last one, say, as like a gold or a silver embossed. I think these would be great for masculine cards. This is a really, really neat background. And then usually there's a lot of white on the card and you'll do a pop of black. So since I did the black card base, I kind of just wanted to have a little pop of white. So what I think I'm going to do is just kind of put this sentiment down in the bottom. So we are going to use some of the ATG gun, and I'm just going to put tape, and wherever the tape randomly goes is pretty much how long it's going to be. Line it up, and then I have more tape on there than I needed, and then just gonna take a pair of scissors and cut off the end. So this was a very quick 1-layer card, with the exception of the sentiment, and this is just showing you guys how to use turnabout stencils. Turnabout stamps are done in a very, very similar way. There's a jig now that you can use, And you saw this took less than 15 minutes to do, and it's a completed card, and I think it looks fantastic. Now you can put a piece of white cardstock inside, put another sentiment in there, just write a note. Just think that's a really, really cool encouragement card. Just quickly wanted to show you, this is another encouragement card. I actually never dropped this off. I have to do this. This needs to be dropped off to the Angels of God community, and this one is for John. So this is another encouragement card. So here's 2 encouragement cards that I've made recently using different products. This video, I believe, is up on the channel already, and I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you're enjoying this card hop that Courtney so graciously put together. Thank you so much, Courtney, for doing this. It came out of questions that people were asking one night on a live YouTube video, and I think it's phenomenal. They were very supportive of other crafters, and I love that. So hopefully you guys find some amazing crafters to hop along with on this card hop. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new to my channel and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and like, comment, leave me a message, DM me, and I will get back to you with any kind of questions that you guys have. If you want to know about any of the supplies I used or any of the companies that I often talk about and purchase from, let me know. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye!